PulseX, is it legit or is it a scam? In this video, I'm just going to tell you the facts about PulseX.com, PLSX the token. I'm just going to tell you the basics about it, and it's up to you at the end of the video to decide what you think for yourself. Is it legit or is it a scam? Let's just talk about what the token does. Alright, let's get right into it. Alright, if you don't know by now, you might have heard about PulseX. It's been pumping a little bit lately, but this is PulseX.com, the website. It looks just like every other decentralized exchange, okay? It's also called a DEX. It's very simple. It's like Uniswap. It's like everything else you've ever seen. Really nothing groundbreaking here. You trade one coin for another. Okay, you trade one coin, one token in the Pulse chain ecosystem for another token in the Pulse chain ecosystem. So it's the primary DEX on the Pulse chain blockchain, if you didn't know that already. But it also has a token associated with it. You know how Uniswap has the UNI token? It's abbreviated UNI. Well, PulseX has its own token as well. It's called PLSX. So the abbreviation, the token ticker symbol, PLSX, is to PulseX like the UNI ticker symbol, UNI, is to Uniswap. So, you got the website, the platform itself, and then the token, which is, right here, this PulseX token, okay? A lot of people are trading this token along with Hex, PLS, INC, a lot of stable coins, and some Ethereum, and even wrapped Bitcoin. These are the major pairs, the major liquidity pools over here on the Pulse chain side of things on PulseX.com. So what does the token do? Let's get right into it. Look, every DEX you go on, they're going to charge you a trading fee, and that trading fee is going to be in the form of whatever coin you're paying with. Basically, whatever coin is in the top here. Look, so if I wanted to trade Hex for Ethereum, what am I paying my fees in? I'm paying my fees in Hex, right? Because it's on the top and it's the coin that I'm paying with. So obviously that's the coin that the fees are in the form of. Now, like I said, it's a 0.29% fee every time people trade. They're paying a tiny little 0.29% fee. They almost don't even notice it. Now, most DEXs out there, they charge a 0.3% fee. PulseX is just a little bit cheaper, just kind of as a bragging point. Kind of just a marketing thing. But yeah, it is cheaper than Uniswap technically, 0.01% cheaper. So yeah, for example, if I wanted to trade Hex for Ethereum, if I wanted to trade 800 Hex for, I don't know, however much Ethereum that gets me, I am paying 0.29% in trading fees. Look at this network fee. And it's almost negligible, right? You almost can't even notice it, especially on smaller orders. It starts to add up when people trade bigger amounts. But, people are doing this all day long. And so the fees rack up pretty significantly every day. I mean, look at how much trading volume has gone on in the past day alone. In the past day, $51 million of trading volume has been happening on the PulseX trading platform. And this is gopulse.com, by the way. Link in the description below. It's your one-stop shop for all the Pulse chain stats and everything. But $51 million of volume in a day. All right, cumulative, $7 billion of volume, and that's always growing, obviously, if it's cumulative. But daily, think about $51 million, and think about 0.29% of that $51 million just for today has been paid in trading fees. But now, where do these trading fees go? Where do these trading fees go? Do they go to an individual? No, that would be a centralized exchange. This is a decentralized exchange. So these fees are routed by the code, just by math, by the back-end smart contracts. They're routing all these fees that are happening every day from every different trader across the world, and they're routing them to primarily distributing them to liquidity providers. Okay, liquidity providers, 0.22% of the 0.29% goes to the LPs, the liquidity providers. Okay, and that's for taking the risk of putting up liquidity and allowing everybody else to trade using their coins. So that's what you get when you're on the other side of the trade on a DEX as a liquidity provider. You actually get a large portion of the trading fees along with INC token, which is why, yield farming is so popular. People are actually making a lot of money on yield farming, but I talk about that on other videos and my course, hexpassiveincome.com. If you don't know anything about yield farming, I talk about it in there, but that's not what this video is about. What I want to focus you guys on is look at this section of the coins, all right? The other vast majority, besides this tiny 1%, we're going to ignore that. 20.7% of the trading fees, also known as 0.06% of that 0.29%. So this gets divvied up in a couple ways. 0.22% goes to liquidity providers. 0.06% goes to buy and burn the PLSX token itself. Now this is really cool. We're going to get into it in 1 minute. We're going to tell you why it's actually very bullish for the coin. And then finally 0.01% goes to an address with no expectations. This is kind of like a dev fund or an anonymous fund. We don't know, but it doesn't really matter. It's tiny. It's a very tiny amount. Okay. So we're going to visualize this in a different way. All right. Let's say I'm paying 10,000 PLS for 1,000 Hex. Now obviously this is not the real price. It's an example. Okay. So I'm paying, let's say I wanted to pay 10,000 PLS for some Hex, right? So 10,000 in here. I'm paying 10,000 PLS. So my fee, obviously, as we know, is paid in whatever's on the top. It's paid in the token that I'm swapping for the other token. I mean, this should be obvious because I don't have the other token. How could I pay a fee in a token I don't even have? So I have PLS. I'm paying my fee at 0.29%, 0.29% of this 10,000 PLS is going to be paid in fees by myself. So that means 29, because 0.29% of 10,000 is 29 PLS. These 29 PLS are generated in fees, and where does that go? This is just another way to visualize it. Okay, 0.22% goes to all the liquidity providers. This ends up being 22.04 PLS. You can also look at this like it's 76% of the total transaction fees. Now the other big chunk, 0.06%, or 22% of the total fee, is actually going to buy and burn the price of PulseX. So when I make this trade, 6.38 PLS are actually used to buy up the price of the PLSX token itself and burn the PLSX token out of existence. So the price goes up and the supply goes down. Obviously, we know when you buy a coin, the price goes up. That's how prices go up. And then when you burn a coin, you take the supply out of existence, so PulseX gets more scarce, and you'll never have as much PulseX. There will never be as much PulseX tomorrow as there is today. We're going to dive into these topics, okay? They're pretty simple, but we're going to dive in. And of course, there's that 1%. But what does PulseX, the token, actually do? All right? What's really cool, the concept that I want you guys to really understand from this video, this is the primary use case, the value prop of PLSX. People like to buy PLSX, the token, because it's kind of like buying a share in the exchange itself. Now, it's a decentralized exchange, so there's no one single owner, but you can look at this like you're owning a share of the exchange. You're owning a piece of the pie, or a piece of the casino, because, you know, the success of the PLSX token is based on the volume that's done on the platform. And how do you get volume? Well, volume comes from adoption. Volume comes from people using it. It should be obvious, right? But the more, let's look at the stats. The more volume is over here, the more money is routed into buying up the price of PulseX and burning the token, and thus causing permanent code-generated buy pressure on the PLSX token itself. So it's really cool, and the Uni token doesn't have this. Over on Uniswap, for example, the Uni token doesn't really do anything. Yeah, they say it does governance. They say you get voting rights in the platform, you know, the future of the platform, but not really. Because first of all, nobody has any idea what to vote for on these technical decisions on Uniswap. Nobody should be voting, really. A lot of these amateur people don't even know how to code. Should they really be voting in the first place? And on top of that, Hayden and the team at Uniswap Labs, they own 90% of the Uni coins anyway, so it's not like your vote actually matters. So the UNI token over on Uniswap, that's kind of a fake BS narrative. It doesn't really, the coin doesn't really do anything. People think buying Uni is somehow like buying Uniswap, and it's not true, okay? Uniswap, the platform, and Uni, the token, are very separate from each other, and it's a very bad design because the Uni token has almost nothing to do with Uniswap, the platform. If you buy Uni token, you're just buying a speculative asset that doesn't really have too much of a use case. Fake governance, sure, but it's not like you're buying a share of Uniswap. If you buy PulseX, for example, it's kind of like you're buying a share of the exchange. It's kind of like you're becoming the casino to a degree. Because if you buy PulseX, you are basically saying that you are bullish on the fact that more volume and more adoption is going to come to the PulseX.com exchange itself. And again, the more people are trading all day long, the more volume and adoption that we get, this directly leads to the buy and burn function. The more volume is happening, the more PulseX is bought and burned. And this is the best possible thing you can do for the price of a coin, is to buy it and burn it. So when you buy a coin, the price goes up. When you burn a coin, the supply goes down. Pretty simple to understand, right? It's not crazy complicated, but why not have the PLSX exchange token actually do something, you know, unlike the Uni token that kind of is just a duct taped on coin with, you know, not a whole lot of real world use case. So PulseX represents, and it's more bullish the more people are using the platform. So if you buy PulseX, if you have a lot of PulseX, you should want PulseX to do very well. You should be incentivized to actually feed adoption and volume and liquidity into PulseX and make it a more thriving ecosystem, because the better you make PulseX, PulseX.com, as a PLSX holder, the better that you can make PulseX.com, the more money goes into pumping your own PLSX coin. So everybody gets an incentive to actually support the platform. So it's kind of a beautiful circular feedback loop where the people that buy the coin buy it because they're bullish on the platform. And when they're bullish on the platform, they promote the platform, which in turn helps to pump the coin. And the buy and burn function, I like to call it kind of a buyer of last resort. Even if nobody bought PLSX for the day, for example, even if nobody paid any attention to PLSX and all they were doing was trading other coins. Let's look over here, guys. We can go to the burn tab on PulseX to visualize this, all right? Let's say nobody cared about PLSX at all. Well, you're still generating all these token fees and all these other liquidity pairs. You know, DAI, Pulse, Hex, DAI. And here's an example of all the fees that are generated. And by the way, anybody can run this burn function. I wouldn't waste your time with it. Guys, somebody else out there is always going to run this. It's not worth it to just sit behind a screen and click burn all day. But it's a public function too, which people don't realize. And every time people burn PulseX, what's happening is that they're collecting all the fees, and you can collect as many different fees on different liquidity pairs as you want. And so let's say I've got these 5 pairs selected. You know, the USD value of all the fees collected by these liquidity pairs so far currently equals $36. So if I press burn, I'm essentially buying $36 of PulseX using, you know, these tokens over here, and then I'm burning them out of existence. So that $36 goes bye-bye. It's never to be seen ever again. Okay, so that's pretty cool. People don't know that it's actually a public function, but we don't really need to care about that because let's leave all the mindless button clicking to other people with nothing better to do with their lives, okay? People do it. People really sit there and click. Just don't waste your time. Now, PLSX is different than INC. INC is the yield farming coin, so you might have recognized that there's actually a couple of tokens over on the exchange, a couple of the core coins like PulseX, PLS, Hex, but you've also got this INC coin. And one of the other innovations with INC and PulseX, the platform, is that the INC coin is separate. It's separated from PLSX. So a lot of exchanges, they use their same platform coin, and they also give that out as rewards for yield farming. But what ends up happening in reality is that the coins that a lot of people get for yield farming, they often just dump them anyway. So why would you want to add more sell pressure to a coin that's designed to pump with a buy and burn, and that's designed to pump based off the success of the platform, right? The success of the PulseX price is directly proportional to the success of the platform. So why would you want to reward yield farmers with a bunch of PulseX if they're most likely just to sell it and then delete all that buy pressure that you worked so hard to get? Okay, so that's another cool thing about PulseX is that INC token is the yield farming coin, and it's diverting the sell pressure from the PulseX token itself so that people can sell INC. They don't have to sell PulseX, okay? Now, I want to make one quick point as well. People don't just permanently dump INC all the time. First of all, you can lock INC in a liquidity farm and earn more INC in yield on it. But some people are also speculating that one day INC might be the voting coin. So in the code, there were comments found that one day the holders of INC token might be rewarded by getting voting privileges, being some of the few people that actually held the coin. And INC inflates from 0, but this is not a video about INC. Just a little tangent about that. And finally, this is a narrative that some people like. PLSX is deflationary. I've already mentioned this. So what does that mean? The total supply of PLSX at launch, at the very beginning, at the inception of PulseX.com, was the highest it will ever be, and the total supply will only go down over time. And why is that? Well, obviously it has to do with the burn part of the buy and burn, okay? So there's no more new coins minted. There will be no more new PLSX ever minted ever. There's nothing to do. There's no way to generate more PLSX. There is only a way to burn PLSX and make the supply go down, which is why PulseX is deflationary. All right, now some people think inflation is bad. Inflation does get a bad rap, especially with the Federal Reserve, stealing your purchasing power by inflating the crap out of your money. Now, inflation itself isn't good or bad. It's just out of control inflation by, a bunch of old dudes that you didn't even elect that have no idea what they're doing, like the Federal Reserve. That kind of inflation is bad, but stable programmatic inflation, like in Bitcoin, like in Hex, that doesn't have to be so bad. But, a lot of people are just anti-inflation just because of the times right now. And so if you hate inflation, well, guess what, guys? PulseX is deflationary, which means, again, you can't print any more coins. And in fact, they only get burnt. Let's actually look at the stats on that. Go over to gopulse.com. Check this out, guys. Check this out. Look at this stat right here. I mean, yes, the price of everything has been pumping lately, but we're not talking about the price right now. I want you guys to look at this stat right here. This is the total amount of PulseX that has been burned so far, 512 billion, which is not a small number. Pulse Chain has only been around for less than 6 months. So 2.48% of the total circulating PulseX supply out of all the coins in circulation right now. not the dormant coins, but the circulating coins. Of those coins, after not even 6 months, 2.5% of the total supply is being burned, has already been burned, which means PulseX is getting more and more scarce every single day. And one day, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of it left. So, I mean, establishing your position early on, in the grand scheme of things, on 5-10 years from now, might be, you might be one of the very last holders, given that you're the last man standing over here. And we can also just show this in USD. So that's $10 million worth. Okay, $10 million worth of PLSX has just been burned by the code, just been burned by the smart contract, not by a person, but just it's out of existence. So that's $10 million of the coin that we will never ever get back. So again, it's making the coin more scarce every single day. And look at that, guys, 511 billion PulseX. If we click on that number, that's a big number. Okay, it's very surprising that it's that much, 2.5% after only not even 6 months. Imagine 5 years from now. So finally, the PulseX.com platform itself, one of the other benefits is that it is the most liquid DEX on Pulse Chain out of all the DEXs, and it especially matters for the primary coins. So if you're trying to swap and trade for the primary coins, Hex, PLS, and PLSX, all right, these coins are definitely the most liquid. I'll show you the liquidity up for the highest pools, okay? We go over here to the Farms tab. We can see these coin pairs right here are by far the highest liquidity pairs. So you're going to get the best deal on your trades as long as you're trying to swap for any one of these coins, right? If you're trying to swap things like INC for Pulse, or PulseX for Hex, or PLS for DAI, or even, Ethereum for PLS. We've got Ethereum over here. If you're trying to trade any coins that are in this list of coins, right? INC, Pulse, PulseX, whatever, you're going to get the best deal because you've got way more liquidity on these particular pairs. Now, if you're trying to trade some other exotic coins or some other random meme coins and stuff, there may be other DEXs for that. You've got, PHUX, you've got 9inch, but for the primary core coins, for establishing your primary, let's call them blue chip positions within the Pulse Chain ecosystem, PulseX is probably going to be your place to start. You're going to want to start where you can get the best bang for your buck, because you're not going to get $36 million of liquidity on any other DEX right now, or probably ever. Look at how high these liquidity pools are. 12 million, 29 million. These are just going to go up over time too. We can even go back to the stats and show you. Look at the PulseX stats over here. There's currently $172 million of liquidity on the PulseX trading platform. So trading volume's definitely been picking up lately. As we can see, the prices are pumping, so that's probably why. But just know that it's also the most liquid place to get your primary coins. And if you want some other weird coins, you might want to go to a different place or check out Piteus.io. I did a video on that. It kind of links all the DEXs together. But that's the point I wanted to make. That's what PulseX actually does. So you can decide. You don't have to buy it. I'm not telling anybody what to do. But if you think that this is a good idea, if you think owning a virtual share of the exchange is a good idea, people that buy PulseX, they buy it because they believe that volume will continue to increase, liquidity will continue to increase, and that basically PulseX.com is going to continue to be the primary DEX on Pulse Chain. It's going to continue to be successful, and it's going to continue to be generating tons of volume, tons of adoption, and therefore buy and burn, which then in turn pumps the PLSX price. So if you've ever wanted to own a piece of a casino or own a piece of a centralized exchange, we're doing that over here in a virtual, decentralized way. And that's what PulseX holders are essentially doing. So again, if you're a PLSX holder, you are incentivized to see a lot more volume going into PulseX.com itself. And that's the primary value prop of PulseX. All right, so if you like this video, if you found this valuable, like, subscribe, share the video, leave a comment. It takes you less than 1 minute. It really does matter. It helps everything go viral. It pumps the algorithm. And if none of this made sense to you, if you want a deep dive on any of these topics, I've got a course called hexpassiveincome.com. Links are all below. If you're a crypto veteran, there's also referral links below, but this course will take you from zero to hero. If you know nothing about crypto, this course is incredibly value-packed. I mean, I'm honestly giving a great deal on it right now. I could charge a lot more. It's incredibly value-packed, and it's geared towards the absolute crypto newbie. And it'll give you the confidence you need within the Pulse Chain ecosystem, but also just about general crypto and how it works in the greater scheme of things. Terminology, Crypto 101, I talk about mindset, all this stuff. Yield farming especially. I mean, we deep dive on all kinds of topics. Oh, by the way, there's also a code, 25% off using the code bear market, because bear markets, as we know, are the best time to get into crypto. Crypto goes up a ton and it also drops a lot, but use code bear market, 25% off at checkout. I hope everybody's enjoying the pumps within the Pulse Chain ecosystem. Let's get ready for the next bull market. I'll see you guys on the moon. Talk to you in the next video.